Excel VBA lets you write powerful code, but with that power comes a fair bit of complexity. Some aspects of Excel VBA are relatively simple. Displaying a cell's contents in bold type is a quick one-line solution. However, working with complex objects such as pivot tables requires substantially more effort. If you run into a programming problem where the code is too complex to work with easily, you can always record a version of what you want to do and modify the code from there. Let's say you want to create a macro that causes a pivot table to display a particular arrangement. Pivot tables have a lot of moving parts. Under no circumstances should you try to write a pivot table macro from scratch. Instead, you should use the macro recorder to do the heavy lifting and create most of the code for you. In this example, I have a pivot table that summarizes sales for the Two Trees Olive Oil Company. To create the macro, I will click another cell's sheet tab. That way I can activate the pivot summary sheet as part of the recorded macro, and then go up to View, Macros, record the macro, and I will call it Recall Pivot. That's all I need. So I'll click OK. Now I'm recording. I'll move to the pivot summary sheet, and then with the pivot table selected, I'll go up to Options, click Clear, and clear all. When I do, Excel removes all the data from the pivot table, but it doesn't actually remove the pivot table itself. So to bring it back, I will click on the pivot table on the left side there, and then I can create the layout that I want. I'll just do year, month, infusion, which is the flavor or product of the olive oil, and then total in the data area. That's the layout I was looking for and that I want to recall later. So now I can go up to the View menu and stop recording, and Excel created my macro. I'll just show that to you right now by editing it. And as you can see, there are a lot of statements in there, a lot of things that you would have to remember, various positionings and so on. You don't want to have to deal with it. You really just want to record the macro. Now, if I want to run it, I can press Alt F11 to get back to the main workbook, and I will change the arrangement of the pivot table just to something else. And then with a cell in the pivot table selected, I'll go up to Macros and run Recall Pivot. When I do, Excel recreates the arrangement I had before. This is a powerful technique, especially if you work in the business intelligence branch or in the marketing branch of your company. Recording procedure steps will save you a lot of programming time, especially if you work with complex objects such as pivot tables. You can record a macro and use it as a separate entity, or copy the code you want to another subroutine.